Ripped and shredded. Who wants to get ripped and shredded? It's March 19th. So what is that? 60, 70, 80 days in the year. How many of you all had a New Year's resolution to lose weight or get healthy or sleep like a baby? Anyhow, tonight we're going to do some hips and torso fitness. But before we do that, let's just talk about, getting ripped and shredded. There is hey, what's up, Michael Durstein? There's a guy out there on the interweb. I think his name is Cole. It's called Snake Juice, Snake Juice. And I'll post a link in here tonight. You can do some fasting, you can do some snake juice. But it's real simple. Well, not really simple. It's a really simple recipe. Snake Juice for Dummies, it's called. And I'll find the link and I'm going to add it in the channel before we get started. Share, copy the link. There we go. So we'll put it right in here in the comments. Snake Juice for Dummies. Anyhow, back in the day, I used to weigh about 195. I think I weigh 164 now. And what I did is I did the snake juice and I ate once a day. That means I fasted for quite a bit. I ate between 11 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon, or sometimes it would be between 1 and 7. And that was it. I would just eat whatever I wanted in that window. But what I did is I did spin bike first thing in the morning. If you don't have access to a spin bike, you can do sprints, you can ride a bicycle, you can jog, whatever you need to do on an empty stomach with nothing in your system. They call it break fast breakfast. Breakfast is a construct, it's new in the last, 150 years. There was no breakfast back in the day. So if you want to get ripped and shredded, get up early on an empty stomach and do some type of cardiovascular. I did spin bike for 30 minutes on an empty stomach. I did it for 51 days and I shred 15 pounds and I've maintained that weight since. I eat whatever I want. Oreo cookies and milk before bedtime, doesn't fucking matter. Because my body is at a level that, I continue to exercise and work out and, don't eat a lot of calories or whatever it may be. I used to count calories, but bottom line is if you want to get ripped and shredded, you can do some type of spin bike, cardiovascular, high intensity training, for 30 minutes in the morning. You do it for 30 days, you do it for 60 days on an empty stomach, and then eat once a day. You can check out the link there for how to do snake juice. And if you want to look at how he does fasting for dummies, you can Google Cole fasting for dummies. The guy's a little brutal, but the way he speaks but he's got a caring heart. You can tell that just how he helps a lot of obese people lose weight. But there is what he has. It's called Fasting for Dummies and Snake Diet for Dummies as well. Anyhow, so tonight we're going to be doing some fitness training for the hips and the torso. I want to run through, the exercises. There'll be a link to go to the Google Drive and get the PDF with the exercises on it. So what's the first one? Pelvic tilt and golf stance. So we've all done the pelvic tilt during the fitness evaluation. So this is going to be assisted. And so I'm going to get into a golf stance. I've got a wood here, and it's assisted. I'm in my good stance, and I'm going to tuck in, arch my back, tuck and arch, tuck and arch. And you're going to find out, if you're stuck here in S posture, you probably have some lower back pains. Or you might have C posture where you're stuck here. So you can arch it and then tuck it, and then you can find right there in the middle, and that's really where you want to be in your posture. So you can tuck it and arch it, and then you can do this a few times, and then you'll be able to find out where the middle is, and that's what good golf posture looks like. So that's really simple thing to do, is just pelvic tilts, assisted, and you're just really working on making sure that you contract your abs to be able to, move your pelvis up and down, because that's what happens in the backswing. The pelvis is moving up and down as well. The second one here is the split stance with the lunge turns. So this is going to be good for balance and stability and mobility. So I'm going to do a lunge, and I'm going to go to torso turn. I'm going to do 5 aside. Switch legs. So those are really good for stability, working on your hams, quads, glutes, hips, and also the ability to turn your torso. We've done a lot of fitness evaluations recently, and when we're sitting on that chair without our knees moving, some of you can barely go 30 or 45 degrees. And so by doing that, you'll be able to get more open torso, and we're going to keep progressing, because we're going to do some torso turns on one leg. And so from the side view, I'm on one leg. I'm going to get a golf posture right here on one leg. I'm going to just turn my torso. 1, 2. So this works on balance, on your ankles, your calves, your glutes. And you just want to be able to do a torso turn. Five aside. That's a really difficult one if you don't have the balance. You guys remember how we did leg up and then close your eyes? And some of you could get to 10 seconds, some of you were less than 10 seconds, some of you got to 25 seconds. So, single leg, golf posture, single leg, golf posture, torso turns. Those are not easy. So if you're having a challenge with those, then it only takes 60 seconds to do those every day. Next one on the list is W turns. Basically just put the club behind your neck here. So it looks like a W. Just do W turns standing up. And then get in the golf posture. And you can do your pelvic tilt where you can tuck it, arch it, tuck it, and put it right in neutral. And then just do W turn, back, W turn through. And some of you will see this W turn posted with your swing analysis to fix any characteristics that you may have had, like loss of posture or flat shoulder plane, or make sure that you're in a good posture. And make sure you have a good backswing. Next one is this pelvic tilts. Golf posture with arms crossed. Again, this is just like the very first one where we assisted, but here we're going to get into golf posture. And we just want to continue working on our core and making sure that we can tuck our pelvis up and then arch our back. And it only takes a few seconds to do these exercises. Number one, you're just training your body to do it physically, but you're also training your brain to make sure that it can actually do the motor control pattern. Because some of you, when you did the test, that you couldn't disassociate the lower body. You couldn't disassociate and have the lower body move only without the upper body moving. So if you see, my upper body is still, but my lower body is moving. And the same thing, can I disassociate my upper body without my lower body moving? And so you need to be able to disassociate the upper and lower, because when you get down into the back swing, as I start with my hands, arms, shoulders, hips, then when I start down, I want to make sure that I can fire my hips first and build up this torsion here first, and then let this come behind and follow through. So we need to be able to have the stability, mobility, and flexibility, but also the motor control skill set in our brain to know how to disassociate the upper and lower body. Sweeping the dust, backswings, number 6. This is one of my favorites when you're, when you're trying to do swing changes, when you're doing a swing change. So a lot of us, sometimes we get into this whole area where we're here, but then we stand up, and now you look how flat my shoulder is versus keeping my shoulders on an angle. So what the sweeping the dust will do, backswings, is I just put the club across here, and I'm simply going to try and sweep the dust with the club head. Means it's not across here, it's touching the ground. So this is how we're building a motor control pattern. So this is sweeping the dust, backswings. And you can see if I was to go hands, arms, shoulders as one unit, slow motion training, it starts to pull my hips in, and now I've got everything loaded on my rear glute, my rear leg. And when I sweep the dust, you'll notice that I don't get upright and have a flat shoulder plane. My shoulders stay on this angle here. So sweeping the dust back, you can do 10 or 15 or 20 of those. The more times you do it slow motion and feel where the weight is, and you see I have a good spine angle here where I'm not going like that, the reverse spine angle there. And then you can reverse it and do sweeping the dust down swings, which is really, really good, especially when you add in Excalibur sword. So from here, I'm sweeping the dust down here, and this is making sure that my right shoulder is playing in the game, getting my shoulder to drive down that line, sweeping the dust down that line, and I'm just training a motor pattern, backswing, downswing here, and then for those of you that have seen the other training where we talk about Excalibur sword, you can simply get into impact fixed position right here, and then you would impact fixed, and you just pull the sword out of the ground, and that helps you with your follow through and finish. sure that you get your weight towards the target, but also make sure that you get these hips fully open. You guys will notice if you hit a bad swing and it goes to the right, likely that your hips stopped right here versus rotating all the way to the target and past the target. Hey Anthony, what's going on, bud? And then so the other one is the windmill turns. This is just all for opening up the torso and the hips. So I'm going to start here with my hands here, and I'm just going to turn like a windmill. I want to keep my feet on the ground. I don't want my heels to come off the ground. And I just want to turn and see how far I can turn my torso, which will also turn my hips. And I'll get a greater hip turn and a greater torso turn. And when I take a backswing, if you look at someone like Rory, I mean, he's got a 120-degree shoulder turn. I'm 50 years young, and I can get past 120 degrees on my backswing because of the flexibility and the mobility training that we've done. So once you get used to doing this here, then you get into your golf posture, and then do the same W turns, same windmill turns. Here, here. And for some of you, you'll notice when you do that, when we did one of the fitness evaluation tests, we looked at how far your shoulders can externally rotate. You know, some of you got to about right here, some got here, and some didn't get here. You can get here by doing the flexibility training that's in this Facebook group. Now you do that in golf posture. Here you're going to have more range of motion here, but when you get in golf posture, your range of motion is going to decrease. Some of you are just right here, equal to the spine, and you want to get back there. Because what happens when you take your backswing, if you don't have the ability that this is as far as you can go, right there, well, that's going to be some limitations in your backswing, and you have some type of compensation. Hey, what's going on, Michael? You have any questions? So there's a list here of 7 exercises. There's a link to an image of how to do it and an explanation of how to do it. I highly recommend you focus on this one here, the lunge with a torso turn. Lunge with the torso turn. Because this is really where you're at your golf posture. And you can do a further lunge, you can do a 3/4 lunge with the torso turn. Because this is the golf swing right here. Switch legs. The PDF should be in this training. It might show up once I hit end training. There'll be a link to the drive, yes. But when you're going through swing changes like most of us are, after a lot of you have seen David's analysis of your golf swing, those drills on there that he recommends you doing, those are just a few that you can do. When you get into week 4 of the program, there's a whole library of them that you can do that would also help you with building a whole new motor pattern. And what we want to do is, when we get up to here, is a lot of people, they'll stand up And we don't want that. So you want to maintain your posture throughout your entire swing. You can always go into this Facebook group, into the announcements tab. I did a 4-week series of Ben Hogan's 5 lessons of the proper grip. We do that for 30 minutes a day for a week. Then I went to the next week, stance and posture. Making sure that you have the right stance and posture. Well, guess what? We just did these pelvic tilts to find out, to make sure that you can get in the right posture. If you have too much arch in your back, this S posture, you're going to have issues with lower back pain. And so you can tuck it in and exaggerate it to the C posture, arch it, and then find somewhere in the middle, neutral, and then now you're in a good posture, and you can get in that posture, and you can look at a mirror, you can look at a camera, and you can just do that in that second training where we talk about the stance and posture. This is a good stance for me. If you look at the feet position, my knees, everything's good, my stance and posture. And then we talk about the first part of the swing and the backswing, where there's a little bit of a waggle, and then the club, and then a split second behind is the arms, and then the shoulders. So it's a one-piece takeaway, up the plane, not inside, just backswing, like I'm shaking your hand, right there. Slow motion training, right there. So what did we just do? Well, we just did sweeping the dust. The same thing from the side view here, just sweeping the dust, slow motion training. Same thing here, the takeaway. What are my shoulders doing? Sweeping the dust. Last Saturday, I did a training on making sure that we have enough shoulder turn versus just having arms elevating and this right shoulder not turning. So, yeah, I want the shoulder to turn, but I don't want it to turn on a flat shoulder plane. I want it to turn here, and then I'm going to pull that back. And just by pulling this back, if the shoulder's up here, it's all arms. But when I'm doing a row, and this is here, and then I do the shoulder turn, look how easily that gets that right shoulder, that trail shoulder, good rotation. And the more rotation you do with that shoulder, even just to 90 degrees, then you're going to have a really good sequence on the backswing. And then, once we got to the top, then we looked at the first part of the downswing. Downswing, impact, follow through, and finish. And you can do that for 30 minutes a day. Just slow motion training. So we did sweeping the dust on the way back. Well, this is why I like sweeping the dust on the downswing, because I'm working on my shoulders on the way down. And I know that when I can get my right shoulder to participate on the full swing down, and I get my right shoulder to drive that way, I'm going to have the ball, I'm going to have more precision, more accuracy, but also more distance. And so if I take a backswing and my shoulder doesn't come back, well, it's likely that it's not going to come through. So by training, if you look at the training we did last Saturday, full shoulder turn with the right, I drive down, and then I fire that right shoulder down, out, and forward. So this right shoulder, look on an angle where we can see it, this right shoulder is coming down, and it's going out, and then it's going forward. So on the backswing, if we look at what the club's doing and everything in the club head, and we're going back, we're coming up, and then we're coming in. So we're coming back, up and in, and then we're going to come down, we're going to go out, and then we're going to go forward. around my spine, keeping everything stable. Let's see. See if we got any. I see the link. YouTube. Yeah, so I add that downswing because it helps with training the most important part of the golf swing, which is impact. Making sure that I get my right shoulder coming down and driving through versus right shoulder just come across. You know, we cut across and the motion's got to come down first. We got to come down because we went up, we went back, we went up, and then we went in on the backswing. We've got to come down first on this circle. We got to go out because we're on an inclined plane. We're on an inclined plane here. I've got to go out. So I've got to come down and out and then forward towards the target. And even if you're doing finesse wedges, it's still back, up, and in, and then it's down, and then it's out, and then forward. So back, up, and in, down, out, and forward. Back, up, and in, down, out, and forward. Left hand, back, up, and in, down, out, and forward. Back, up, and in, down, out, and forward. And everything is on this circle. Just imagine there's a hula hoop around me on an inclined plane, inclined with this shaft, and I'm swinging on an inclined plane in a circle. So once I go live, you'll be able to see the link for the fitness training tonight. As always, if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, reach out to Dave about your swings, reach out to me about anything. For those of you that have been here a while and I haven't seen you in 30 days, get on my calendar and let's do a one-on-one and let's celebrate some wins. Let's find out where you're stuck and let's keep going with the momentum. Dave's doing a training tomorrow, I believe, at 4 o'clock in the group here. Talk to you guys soon.